It's time for the Nebraska Football Coaches Show. Proudly brought to you by Channel. Channel Seedsman placed product to perform across Nebraska. Get expert advice that yields results at channel.com.
Heinrich going to step and back. Little G-belly action. There's a man wide open. It's Jaylen Lloyd. The throw, he makes a catch. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Back to throw his card. Being rushed, steps, throws, intercepted. Tommy Hill with a pick at the 30. Tommy goes down on a knee at the 29-yard line. His second INT of the game, the third of the season for number 31. Sullivan gets the snap, back to throw, pumps, gets rushed, gets hit, throws down. Then a sack. Pulled down again by Nash, his second sack of the game, all the way back at the 30-yard line. Motion to the near side, they hand it off to Emmett Johnson. He's at the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Emmett Johnson's first career Husker rushing touchdown. It's now 30-14.
Here's your host, Greg Sharpe, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to our first show of the fall. We'll have our football shows on Wednesday night. Delighted to have the head football coach with us tonight, Matt Rhule. If you want to be a part of the program with a text, 402-413-2400, or if you want to pop a question into our YouTube chat, we can pass those along to Coach here tonight as well. The Huskers 10 days out from the opener against UTEP, a 2:30 kick at Memorial Stadium. Well, let's just start with how was practice today?
Practice was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, practice was good today. We started the formal introduction of UTEP and got a lot done. So, great first step on this journey over the next 10 days to get ready for this ball game.
As you said, I think in your last media conference, you've kind of put some little segments about UTEP in fall camp, really from the beginning, right, to kind of work on it. And the players may not even know they were working on something that UTEP might run. Yeah,
I think it's important in training camp that you work on things you're going to do in the early ball games, right? So maybe one day there's, whether it's a walkthrough or a practice, a smattering of Illinois, maybe there's a smattering of Northern Iowa, of Colorado, and then certainly of UTEP. And the great thing is when you watch UTEP's defense, they basically run many of the same principles as our defense does. So offensively, when we go against, the Huskers, we're also getting ready for UTEP. And while their offense is much more spread out than ours, some of the things that they do, perimeter screens, we get a lot of look at those as well. So, but today more formal. Hey, this is specifically what they do. Excuse me, and I thought it was good.
Good. After practice, through your social media channels, you did announce that Dylan's going to be your starting quarterback for that opening game. What separated him? What earned him this job?
Well, I think you have to give a lot of credit to all three guys. I mean, they really battled. They competed. A lot of credit to Jaylen and Bodie as well. Like I think we have really good quarterback play. But, I think Dylan's a special talent. He's got a great arm. He's worked really hard at his timing with his feet. He's protected the ball. He's aggressive in the right ways. So we're excited to see him play. He's still a rookie. There's a lot of things he has to learn. But I think, each day he'll be a little bit better than the last day. And excited for him. And then if the opportunity arises for Heinrich and Danny as well.
BTN and you referenced this as well when they were here to do their campus visit. They raved about your quarterback room. They said this might be as deep a room as there is in the conference. You've got to feel good about that as you enter this fall.
Well, you never have enough depth at quarterback. But I think we feel really good about the guys that are there. And each brings some unique things to the table. But we can still run the offense. We can still be aggressive with all those guys.
Talk about Heinrich and his improvement from last year. I mean, you've been able to watch it day in and day out. Where has he gotten better? And I know you still have a lot of confidence that he could come in and win you a football game.
Well, yeah. I mean, Heinrich's a winner. I mean, he won 5 games as a starting quarterback here last year. And didn't start every game. So I think he's proven he can win. We all know he's a dynamic runner, explosive athlete. I think he's worked really hard on his accuracy, and it shows. And so, if he comes into the game or when he comes into a game, I think you're going to see a tremendous dual threat, a guy that can beat you with his feet, a guy who can beat you with his arm. And, I'm sure that you'll see him at some point this year in some way.
How is Dylan, Coach, in the pocket? Does he have good pocket presence? Does he know when to step, move? Because he looks like he's a decent athlete.
Oh, yeah, he's a very good athlete. I mean, probably could play college baseball if he wanted to. I think that, it's been really good in practice. With that being said, you're not getting hit in practice. And so that's one of the great unknowns about this. You have two guys that haven't played a snap yet in college competing for a job against a guy that's, as I said, started 8 games. But we're going to go with Dylan. We'll get in the first game. We'll play the game. We'll go back. We'll watch the tape. We'll see the things he does well. We'll build off those things. That if there's anything that he struggles with, we'll try to correct that. And to me, this is like the first step in a long, beautiful journey.
How have you assessed Coach Thomas and his work with those quarterbacks? What's that been like for you to watch and kind of be reassociated with him?
Well, he's demanding. He's not there to be your friend. He's there to help you play better. And I don't need to be friends with my dentist, though I am. I don't need to be friends with my doctor, though I am. I need people who can get jobs done. And I think he has a great relationship with his players. But I guess my point is that he's going to be a stickler for the details. He's going to be a stickler for the technique. He's going to be a stickler for the process. The things you're supposed to do, he's going to want you to do. And I think he meshes really well with Garrett, with Sat. And I think as a result, you'll see our passing game take a step this year. Will it
be him or Garrett that will be in the year of Dylan? Have you guys got that far yet?
No, it'll be Marcus. The other play caller will be.
Marcus will be? Okay. Has that gone well? I mean, you guys have kind of had an advantage because that company's right here in the Lincoln area that puts those things out, and you've used them for a couple of, I think you used them even last fall some, didn't you?
Yeah, we used them. We used them the first spring that we were here.
Yeah.
We knew that this was going to come down the pike, and so we wanted to get ahead of it. And as you said, they're right here in town. And then we used it in the NFL. So, we're pretty familiar with it, pretty familiar with how to use it. And I think Marcus does a great job of calmly giving information without overloading. It can't be, sensory overload. And I think he does a great job of calmly giving the information that's needed, any reminders, any alerts. And we'll get to the first game like anything else. Everything won't be perfect that first game. We'll have things to correct, and part of it might be that. But, after having done it before, I feel really good about, where it's headed.
On defense, will it rotate some guys? Could it jump around during the game, depending on who's in, what package you're in?
Yeah, I think it could. I just don't know that we're quite prepared to use it as much on defense. It's just not really built for defense in college with the tempo and all those things. So we have it. We're prepared to use it. We have some unique ways we think we're going to use it. But play in and play out, I think you'll see it much more on offense.
Are you happy with some of these changes to the rules in college football, the tablets now on the sideline? It seems like we're kind of getting to the 21st century here in college football.
Yeah, I certainly am. If I make the wrong decision, I have to read about it. I have to go home. I have to see it sometimes it's on the bottom line of ESPN. And, I'm making every decision in real time. I'm making it from the sideline. I don't have a bird's eye view from the press box. And so people that are watching at home, they have the benefit of replay. They see what happened. They go back. They say, oh, look. So the opportunity to do that now for us as coaches, to make those corrections, I think it's just going to result in better football, a better product. And that's what we all want.
I know there's been some concern in college football about getting enough breaks in for television. Obviously, they're paying a lot of the bills right now for college football. College is going to add the 2-minute warning now at the end of each half. Your thoughts about that? You certainly dealt with that at Carolina.
Well, I think it's great. As you said, sometimes they have that extra long break there in the third quarter, because they're not sure if they're going to get it. Right now with the 2-minute warning, they know they have a built-in timeout that's always happening. So it should minimize some of the longer TV timeouts. But also it adds another wrinkle into the game management, right? It's another timeout. How do you utilize it? Do you go to the 2-minute warning, not go to the 2-minute warning? So it's just another wrinkle for the game. Because there's another timeout, it makes the end of the game maybe a little bit more interesting at times. And again, we mirror the NFL game. So as we're preparing these quarterbacks to go on and play at the next level, the more that the game's like that game, I think the better it is.
Love it. I love all these changes. It's more coaching, too. More strategy late in the game about whether to take a timeout here or wait and just let it roll down to 2 minutes. I mean, it's more in your pocket. That's
right. More things to work on, and we work on that all camp. There's services that provide you all the case studies. We watch the NFL tape for the 2-minute warning. We watch college tape and try to think about what decisions we'd make, and then at the end of the day, go out in the game, try to make the best decision possible, and hope that the players make us right.
Yeah. All right. Yesterday, the single-digit numbers came out. Were you surprised at all by some of that? 9 of the 10 are on the defensive side of the ball. Concerned that it's not more 50-50, or just your thoughts about the single digits?
No, I'm not concerned at all. We've got great leadership on offense, and Ramir Johnson, could have had a single digit. I mean, he's right there in the mix. Some of our players on offense are still young. Fidoni's anywhere from being a sophomore to a senior. Dylan was named the quarterback today. He's a freshman. Jacory's a freshman. people voted for Naor. You know, we have kind of a diffusion of leadership at back. So there's a lot of different guys besides Ramir there. And you know, the O-line can't be voted. You know, I think we have a really, really emerging group of guys on offense who lead. But when you think about toughness, you think about physicality, you naturally go to defense. And I think they picked a great group of guys.
Defensive secondary is well represented there. That must make you feel good.
Yeah, I told Butler and I told those guys, I said, they better not throw for any yards against us. We're all out there in single digits. But I really respect those guys. Those guys work hard. They work at their craft. They've overcome. You think about Marquise Buford. You know, he's overcome 2 knees. You think about Deshaun Singleton, missed most of last year with a knee. You know, Malcolm has played corner and safety unselfishly. Giff decided to come back. Giff played all last year with a sports hernia and just played through it. Never sat himself out. Waited till after the season to get surgery. Tommy Hill, you know, didn't even start halfway through the year last year. A lot of guys would have just, you know, wrote it off. But those men have character. And really what we need right now, to be honest with you, is some of the younger group to step up, because, you know, we'll need to give these guys a blow at some point. And that second group on defense is really my main focus right now.
Yeah. The secondary has certainly earned their stripes, and you've got a bunch of people, a lot of people have been asking about that opposite corner from Tommy Hill. It looks like you've got people that you can rotate in there, and it may not be the same guy week in and week out, and you've shown that even last year. You're not afraid to plug and play as the season moves on.
Well, I mean, it's college football. It's not the NFL. And these guys are emerging. They're growing. And there's a lot of good players. There's a lot of depth. And so they'll compete it out each week. Maybe one week someone's got something pulled. Maybe one week, you know, someone's, you know, really focused. You know, maybe one week just the game style or the player they're going against fits somebody. But, you know, Marquise Buford will start at corner. I think he's played excellent this camp. We have fast receivers. He's played really well. Sear, Wright, Bly, Hill, Jeremiah Charles, to name. I'm sure I'm forgetting some names there. But we have a lot of guys who can go in and play corner.
3 weeks into camp, started 3 weeks ago, today on the 31st. Just big picture, how have you improved, and what do you still want to see in the next 10 days before you kick it off?
I think we've improved in every way, you know, so that's the good thing. I think we're a significantly better football team than we were when we started. I think when you get into this last part, you know, you really, especially as you start school, really 2 things happen. You start school, so those distractions start to happen. The guys have to accept their roles, right? You know, hey, I really want to be the starting whatever, but now I'm the backup, and so I have to be great in this role. And as long as the disease of me doesn't set in, as long as there's not selfishness, you have a chance. And so I think that concept of team, the concept of guys coming in every day and working to help the team win, that's what I want to see over the next 10 days. And we got a big game on the 31st. We have a lot to get ready for. You
mentioned Coach Butler. He's fun to watch coach. He's out there zipping passes. He must have been a quarterback at some point in time. He's got a great arm. How has he adapted to you and the staff and to the players that he's coaching in that room?
Yeah, you watch UTEP's offense. They're really fun. They're fun to watch. You know, they're out there today and they're lining up to, you know, 4 receivers on one side, a receiver over here. They're lining up to 2 tackles lined up way out here. And I kind of looked at him. I said, "It's a little different than, you know, getting ready for the Jets, huh?" You know, and he laughed. But you know, I think what you see, you see a spark in him. You see a renewed energy in him. You know, when you're in the NFL, you're coaching. When you're here, you're teaching, you're training. You know, you're developing players. And so, I think that's his natural character. And I think I see a really good synergy between him and Tony. And you know, I'm anxious to see how it all works out.
T. Kiz in our chat room, Coach, wants to know if there's going to be an alternate uniform this year for one of the games. Any update on that?
Yeah, so alternate uniforms usually, because of the way everything works, they start 2 years out. So like they're talking to Jay Terry and our marketing team right now about alternate uniforms for 2026. So there's no alternate uniform this year. You know, last year they had the throwback to the first game with the blue outline, you know, against Northwestern, and that was something that had been planned 2 years prior. There was nothing planned for this year. I think that was just sort of a philosophical decision. Many people know that I'm a traditionalist. You know, I love seeing traditional uniforms. You know, I know if our players had their druthers, they would definitely. I mean, every recruit, every player would come out white on white one game, or you know, red on red one game. So, but in terms of an alternate uniform, there's nothing this year.
Okay, very good. Coach, keep those comments coming. I got some texts rolling in. We'll get to those in the next segment. Again, our Coaches Show brought to you by Channel. Channel Seedsman place products to perform across the state of Nebraska. Get expert advice that yields results at Channel. 402-413-2400 is that text line. We're back with more of the coach coming up.
Both Farmers and Division I athletes are alike in that every year, every season presents a new opportunity. That is nothing new. Aurora Cooperative does what they always do, embrace new opportunities. They focus on their roots and continue to stand strong with their farmer owners. These core beliefs are much like those of committed Husker athletes. Aurora Cooperatives relies on their value of a strong work ethic to get any job done for their producers. When you choose Aurora Cooperative, you're choosing a winning team that's dedicated to the success of our local farmers. Go Big Red and go Aurora Cooperative.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Set. Hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
Elevate your journey and command the road like never before with a new vehicle from Woodhouse GMC. Plus, with our current offers going on now, you'll save even more. Receive up to $9,000 off MSRP on the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500. Woodhouse GMC, we are professional grade. With approved credit, tax title license extra. Must have 2010 or newer trade-in to qualify. Offer applies to select stock numbers. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires September 3rd, 2024. See dealer for details.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
See Agent Matt Moorhead or Joanne Shamanek in Lincoln or Scott Jeffers in McCook today.
Dorothy Lynch, home-style light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities. We welcome you back to our Nebraska football radio show tonight. The head coach with us until the top of the hour. If you want to fire off a text question to us, 413-2400. Injuries are part of football. Maybe the biggest one was probably Teddy Prohaska in a lot of ways, the biggest guy on the team. But I know you felt terrible to see Teddy go down. A second knee injury for that young man. It just seems like the brakes are against him right now.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that when you think about Teddy that immediately comes to the forefront is just, he's a winner. He immediately came in the next day, had an amazing attitude. He and Roger are going through that same journey together. He'll be great for Roger. So, I don't know why it happened. I don't know why those things happened to people. But I do know that he'll make the most of it. And hate it for him because I know how hard he worked. But, we'll find a way to fill the void. But more importantly, I just feel bad for him. He's such a good person, and he graduated last week. And but, again, he's a winner. He'll make this one of the better things that happens to him.
How has Turner come back from his off-season surgery, and how has he progressed as camp has moved on?
I think Turner's looked great. He goes against good players every day. This guy's played a lot of football, and he's bigger, he's stronger, he's sturdy. He's anxious to watch him play.
You have a lot of experience on that offensive line back. How's that group performed? And obviously, nobody should ever be satisfied, but there's probably more in there for those guys, isn't there?
Well, yeah, especially on the offensive line, every week is a different challenge. It's just different pieces to the puzzle that you have to put together every week. So they have a long way to go, but I'm really pleased with where they are. As you said, there's a lot of guys who played. But I think the biggest mark of the job that Donnie's done is when someone goes in. If Gunnar goes in, if Grant Seacron goes in, whomever goes in, there's not a big drop-off. They work together as a unit and play well together. So, I'm excited to see where they're at.
How is Garrett going to be able to get that rotation down for wide receivers? You've got a lot of bodies in there that look like they're all pretty close together. That's going to be the competition is not going to stop once you end camp, is it? It's going to continue on through the fall.
Well, yeah, I think there's two parts to that. I don't think you ever really know what your team is until you play 2 or 3 games. See who people are in competition. Injuries happen, and you get a feel for your guys as you kind of move on. That's why you play a non-conference season before you hit the Big Ten, so that you can play these ball games and see where guys are. Number two, I guess the biggest thing is we can't play everybody, and that's the difference when you go from a 5-7 team to hopefully a better team this year. Is hey, you might be a really good player, but you have to compete to get on the field. It's not going to be given out. There is no participation trophy. It's earned. And while all the guys might earn the right to play, not everyone can be on the field. And so we have to do the best job that we can. And the way we practice, we give everyone reps, so that the biggest thing being when you do get on the field, maybe you have to get in the second series, maybe you don't get until the third game. When you get in, you're prepared, and then when your opportunity comes, you just have to make the most of it.
Question in the chat room. Give us an update on Carter Nelson.
Yeah, Carter's a developing young player. When you think about the fact that this is his first foray other than those all-star games into 11-man football, it's really mind-blowing what he's done. He's got great talent. He's helping us on special teams. He's working in on offense. I think as the year goes on, he'll continue to grow. Right now, it's just about the volume, the learning, knowing what to do. I think right now, not every play is he quite sure what to do, but when he is, he's really talented. And so he's got a great future. We'll bring him along day by day.
Coach Foley raved about him on special teams, the work he's done there, his instincts to be where he needs to be on that side, that phase of the game.
Yeah, he's just got a little natural swagger to him. He's just got kind of a natural baller. He knows how to play ball. So special teams is a great place for guys like that. You're not held down by all the confines of 200 plays and formations. You can just go play. And so I feel really good about who Carter Nelson's going to be in this program moving forward.
Good. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free. It's easy. It's the law. Huskers getting ready for UTEP on the 31st, as that'll be the opening game of the year. You mentioned that the non-conference is to get you ready for the conference. We haven't had that luxury around here for a few years. It's always been a conference opener for the last 4 or 5 years. Kind of nice to ease into this. Isn't it a little different approach?
Well, it's not to minimize the games. It's just, at the end of the day, you get accolades and postseason awards and all that based upon what you do in conference, right? So to have a non-conference where you start with a slate of games that, while they're important, the conference games are most important really in what you want to do. It is good to have that happen, right? It's good to start at home. Yeah. It's good to start without the crowd noise working against our favor. We have such knowledgeable fans. really there's such an advantage when we're at home. And so to play at home, to not start with a Big Ten game, to start with a non-conference game. But, when you watch UTEP, they're going to challenge you. They went to Tennessee last year at Austin Peay. And, that was a dogfight. Went to Alabama 2 years ago, that was a dogfight. And so Scotty Walton, their coach, he's a winner. Their players are competitive. So it should be a great game.
He brought a bunch of guys with him. I think 10 guys with him from Austin Peay have traveled with him to El Paso to be a part of that program now moving forward. All right, let's flip to defense. That defensive line looks like it's maybe one of the strengths of this football team. You have a lot of experience, a lot of big bodies, guys that are pushing each other every day in practice. How do you feel about that group?
Well, I think you have your starters. And when I say the starters, you have Ty, Nash, and then Jamari and Cam, right? Cam's really a starter when you look at it. He's really like the fourth. You can start any of those 4 guys. And then from there, there's a lot of guys who can play. It's just really who's, again, kind of like the receivers. Everyone can't play. So who's going to be the next guys in the lineup? And we feel good about the depth. We feel good about the young players we've brought in. It's just going to be a matter of, who stays healthy, who gets out there, who plays well, and we'll make decisions on the year based upon how things go early on.
Now, a text for you, Coach. Can you name some true freshmen that you think are going to play and help us this year?
Well, Dylan will play.
Carter.
Carter will play. Ja'Cory Barney will play. Vincent Shavers will play. I'd say probably Amari Sanders will play. I'm probably missing some guys, but I'd say those guys are definitely guys who will be in the mix. Willis McGahee will probably play. So we've got some guys that are in the mix and ready to go.
V9, how'd that come up?
I think that was his nickname. I think his number was 9 in high school, I think. So, the nicknames. Everyone's got a nickname on our team, and I don't know them. So I'm kind of the uncool, older uncle type guy. But I will call him V9. He's a special kid.
Showed out in the spring game. All of us got a chance to see him in that day in April. He made some plays, and I know he continues to make plays. And I think you feel pretty comfortable with that linebacking room, even though that got hit hard with graduation from last year. But this comment you've made, it seems like you're pretty settled there.
Yeah, I think Bullock's one of the better linebackers in the conference. He probably doesn't get the accolades he deserves, but he will. Makai has really come on. Steph Thompson's played a lot of football, and I see him catching his stride right now. Shavers, really an excellent player. The list goes on and on. Dylan Rogers, Gage Stinger. They're all really good football players. I'm forgetting one, so please forgive me. But we'll play 2 deep at linebacker, and those guys will all be ready to play.
I mentioned the big news in the injury front was Teddy, but Jaylen would be probably next in line as a guy that was an impactful player that will not be able to go early in the season. Just another guy that, like Teddy, has had to deal with a lot of injuries in his career. It's tough.
Yeah, and for it not to be a football thing, for it to be a medical thing is probably hard for him. But he's a winner. He's handled it right away. Great family. Jaylen will be just fine. And as I said to him, all award-winning films, they have some twists and turns, they have some down spots to have a happy ending. So we're going to fight with him, tooth and nail till the time comes he's back on the field.
Good. Hopefully that's sooner than later. Time for this week's Alumni Hall Husker Athlete of the Week. We're going to go back a few years and pick off a tight end from Husker past who's now playing in the National Football League.
Back to throw is Adrian, looking over the middle, sets, throws, pass is caught. Jack Stoll, touchdown Nebraska. Jack Stoll, second touchdown catch of the year. The Huskers, with 3 seconds left in the half, make it 37-21.
Jack ended his Eagles day in the offseason, signed as a free agent with coach's New York Giants, and is seemingly having a pretty good camp in New York. We wish him good luck. He got married this past year as well. Alumni Hall is your ultimate Husker shopping experience with the largest and best selection of apparel, vault gear, and tailgate accessories. Shop their 2 Lincoln locations or alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Huskers shop. That leads me into your tight end room. Talk about that group led by Fedoni, but Nate Borkenscher's kind of right there as a 1B guy in that room.
Yeah, I think we have great depth. Fedoni is having a really good camp. He's healthy. He's flying around. He's making plays on the ball. He's blocking well. Nate, the same thing. Luke Lindenmeyer's another do-it-all guy. He can block. He can run. He's got great hands, great body control. So really feel good about that room. A.J. Rollins has moved back over there and has done a really nice job blocking and being another big, powerful body. And then we've got the young guys. We have the Ian Flints, the Eric Ingersons. Those guys are they're growing, they're developing. They have really bright days ahead.
Some of them have different skill sets, don't they, which is good. That position, you can do different things with those guys.
Yeah, I think when you look at tight ends, everyone's looking for the guy who can really set the edge and block.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for the guy that can win versus man and get open. And then if you can find somebody who can do both, that guy gets paid a lot of money someday. So yeah, finding guys with different skill sets, for different opportunities to make plays, allows you to have more diversity in your offense.
How big of a role will the tight ends have in this offense, catching the ball in your eyes? If you had a crystal ball and can go through the next 12 weeks, how big of an influence will they have?
I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I know they can do it. I think it's just going to kind of depend on how it goes. The rapport. When you have a young quarterback, the rapport he establishes with those guys. But I feel really good about where it's headed. To have a guy like Fedoni and not give him the ball, that wouldn't be too smart to me. To have a guy like Borgacher not give him the ball, Lindemeyer, those guys, put them on the field, they create extra blocking surfaces, extra angles. You have to account for it, and then they can catch the ball and get open. So I would anticipate us utilizing those guys in the passing game.
Very good. All right, keep those texts coming, folks. 402-413-2400. We're back with more of The Coach coming up next.
Both Farmers and Division I athletes are alike in that every year, every season presents a new opportunity. That is nothing new. Aurora Cooperative does what they always do, embrace new opportunities. They focus on their roots and continue to stand strong with their farmer owners. These core beliefs are much like those of committed Husker athletes. Aurora Cooperatives relies on their value of a strong work ethic to get any job done for their producers. When you choose Aurora Cooperative, you're choosing a winning team that's dedicated to the success of our local farmers. Go Big Red and go Aurora Cooperative.
Pioneer brand Z-Series soybeans have farmers yielding out an additional 2.7 bushels per acre over A-Series. This has everyone talking, not just farmers. Case in point, a trucking company wrote, "Morning, noon, and night, it doesn't matter. I'm hauling Z-Series. The phone doesn't stop ringing. Even my home number, it never stops ringing." Well, it's fair to say Pioneer brand Z-Series soybeans are making quite an impact. Unleash your greatest harvest yet at pioneer.com/greatest yields.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker Black Shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentor.
We're recruiting Teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Hi, this is Rex Burkhead, and I'm asking you to donate to the Team Jack Foundation to support childhood brain cancer research. Your contribution fuels the discovery of new treatments, enhancing children's lives and improving survival rates. Childhood brain cancer is a serious issue in Nebraska. where we rank number 7th nationally in incident rates. Every dollar brings us closer to a cure and a brighter future for these brave kids. Make a difference today by visiting teamjackfoundation.org to donate. Go Big Red.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back. It's our Husker Football Show, our first one of the year. The shows will be on Wednesday nights throughout the football season. Tonight, the head coach with us. It's brought to you by Channel. Channel Seedsman place products to perform across Nebraska. Get expert advice that yields results at channel.com. Cornhuskers headed toward August 31st to take on the UTEP Miners. John in Omaha with an interesting question for you, Coach. As far as the on-field demeanor, who would you say is the biggest bad hiney on the Husker roster? I'm guessing a tough guy. I guess that's what he references. Have a great year, Coach. Go Big Red. And is that important to have somebody that's kind of wants to knock somebody down and keep pushing them?
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as they don't get
penalized
with it, I think. I think that's why we vote for the single digits. It's not about the most account. It's really just the toughest guys, right? The guys who do the hard things that no one else wants to do. So I think you have to start there, probably with the Jamaris, Nash's, ties, the guys on the O-line and D-line. I couldn't point out just one. I think we have a kind of a culture of physicality that I'm hoping helps us win games.
We're putting a guy in the Nebraska Hall of Fame here in a couple months, in Dominican Sue, that was his mantra. He was kind of mean out there. He would step on guys, and not that I'm condoning that, but that was him. He was kind of nasty out there, and that's part of football.
Yeah, and he was also a great player.
Oh my God!
He's
a big fan of yours too, by the way.
Well, he's been great to me, and I'm very grateful for him. And so, I think players come with all different demeanors and mindsets. At the end of the day, I turn on the tape. That's really I have guys on the team that love to give the pregame speech. They love to do those things like your actions speak so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. Just show me what you are on tape. And Dominic and all those guys, they were, he was dominant on tape, and so we have some guys I think can be really, really, really dominant on tape this year. They've just got to go do it.
Yeah, a couple quick questions for you in the chat room. Are you going to go week to week with your captains?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a great senior class. Too much opportunity for leadership. We have a unity council like Coach Osborne did. We have obviously the single digits, but in terms of captains, each senior will have a chance to represent the team, and then late in the year, we'll vote for team captains.
And another one about when are you going to hand out black shirts?
Yep, just like they've, just at least the way the tradition was told to me, going into next week.
Okay, very good. All right, a lot of work's been done in the stadium to move sidelines. I know that they've took some bricks out. They've removed the rail. You're going to be now on the west sideline, and that's something that you've talked about for the most of the time you've been here, is to get over in the press box behind you instead of looking right over at your sideline and out of the sun for these early games.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll play this first ball game. We'll be out of the sun while our opponent's in the sun for a little bit longer. Certainly last year with the sign stealing and all that, it was pronounced. Not letting people see, not having the officials on your sideline marking the chains. I mean, there's a lot of advantages to being on the traditional home sideline. Traditionally the home side is the press box side. So grateful that we were able to do that.
Good. All right. We talked about the single-digit numbers. Let's talk about the one offensive guy, Jamal Banks, who you raved about him really the first couple weeks he was on campus, the job he was doing, getting involved in things. What have you seen from him since he got here?
He shows up every day trying to make everyone else better, trying to make the team better, trying to give of himself to others. He's got gratitude. He's not entitled. He's special, and he makes other people special.
Good player too, right?
Oh, he can go get the ball now. He's got great catch radius, big, physical, smart, tough. He'll play. He'll play after this.
You had a Billy Kemp last year, kind of the same mode, but a different player, way smaller than Jamal. Jamal 6'4", Billy was maybe 5'11" at his tops, but you've done pretty well in that market of wide receivers, bringing a veteran guy in. That's been a good trade your first 2 years here.
Yeah, I think, when you have guys, that maybe, like a guy like Jamal's, played at Wake Forest, a great school, got a great education, but wants to come try to play in the Big Ten, wants to play with us who have been in the NFL, maybe help his draft stock, whatever his reasons were, I don't know. But I think that's good, and as he has success and Nayor has success, that'll continue to open the door for us in the portal if we need it.
All right, this is a good one for you. Coach, I noticed that who decides and how do you decide what color shirt to wear before the game? I've noticed you wear black usually. Is that true? I'd have to go back and look at all
the game.
Yeah. How do you decide what shirt to wear?
Yeah, I subscribe to the whole decision fatigue thing. Like I wear the same thing. I try to wear the same thing every day. Like if you see me right now, I have they give us all this wonderful Adidas stuff. I wear three cage jackets, 3 T-shirts, 3 pairs of shorts. That's all I want. In the summertime, I have 5 Hawaiian type shirts. I have 3 golf shirts. That's all I want. So before the game, whatever's on my loop, I wear. I don't spend too much time thinking about it. Maybe black is slimming, and that's my thought. I don't know, but I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Julie doesn't get involved in this?
On what I wear in pregame?
Yeah. Oh, man,
no.
Maybe she would say, Matt, we're going to do this today.
No. There's a time, family photos, like, hey, guess what? You're wearing the sweater with the matching jeans. Don't even give me a look. Julie lets me be me, which is why she's so great.
Very good. All right, this team's got 10 days to get ready. I know there's been some questions. Ed Foley met with the media yesterday about the kicking game. How do you feel about that with 10 days to go before the opener?
I think it's still a question yet to be answered. You have an unproven guy in John in that he just hasn't kicked for us in college. You have a guy in Tristan that had a good first year that was on track to improve upon it and has been injured, right? Yeah. So, I think when you're injured, you don't know till you know. I have a lot of confidence in Tristan. There's not a doubt in my mind that when he's ready, that he'll go out there and go. And I love what I've seen from John. I have a lot of confidence in him. A lot of confidence in Nico. Those guys have kicked really well. But we're going to have to get out there and do it. And so I think that's when you look at your team each year, you say to yourself, okay, what are the things that are proven? What are the things that we're not sure about? Like I don't know who our punt returner is. I don't know who our kick returner is. Ramir had that long one early at Minnesota last year, but he's coming back. I don't know who our field goal kicker is. So those are some pretty big questions now. My last year at Baylor, we won 11 games. Game-winning kick to send it to overtime against TCU. Game-winning kick to send it to overtime against Texas Tech. Game-winning kick against, I forget whoever else. I think there's 3 that year. So, you know what? Kicking field goals equals winning, and that's still a question right now. So the things that do keep me up at night, that's one of them. It's not about the players. It's just about his injury and then their experience.
Husker football brought to you in part by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit buyfordnow.com for all your truck, SUV, and electric vehicle needs. How's Brian Buschini's camp been at the punting spot? Yeah,
Brian's done a really nice job. Punting here with the weather and the wind and all that's a unique proposal, and I thought he did it well last year. I think he's poised to have an even better year this year. You mentioned Ramir in the kick return game. Hesitant at all because of the injury last year that he suffered? He did have that great return against the Gophers early in the season. No.
I'm sure he wants to.
Yeah, every decision I make is never made with, hey, I think this is going to go wrong. It's always made, if the doctor's clear and we go, and Ramir wants to play, it's why he came back. So Ramir's in the mix, Jacory's in the mix. We've got a lot of guys who I think can do it that are in the mix at kick returner, and the same at punt returner as well. IGC was a guy that Ed mentioned yesterday. There was another guy that had to make a decision whether to come back or not. I mean, he's been a college football player for a long time, and he's battled some injuries, but what kind of camp has Isaiah had? Yeah, I mean, he's still working back from the knee. I think there's days where he feels great. There's days naturally, right, where, hey, I might need a little time. But he's a competitor. He's tough. He's strong. He's smart. He'll provide value to us. And I think as the year goes on, his knee, feels better and better and better. I think you'll just see his explosiveness jump. If we played right now, he probably would return the punts. So hopefully he can hold on to that job, and that'll springboard him into some other things as well. All right, Jeremy in Texas. Coach, when you're down here, what's your go-to item? Is it Bucky's? Bucky's? Yeah. What's your go-to there? I'm going to go to Bucky's. I'm going to get a Diet Dr. Pepper, which is the. That's a state drink. Yeah, and then I'm going to get Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm going to get some different beef jerkies. And then probably Susan will probably call me and say, hey, bring me back this. And then Garrett would say, bring me back that. I have to load up a whole box for all the Texans on the staff. But, yeah, definitely going to Bucky's and get some beef jerky.
You've done well down there in recruiting since being here in Nebraska. I'm sure that's something you want to continue.
Yeah, we tell them down there, that we're Texas's Big Ten team. They got some great SEC teams, some great Big 12 teams. If you want to play in the Big Ten, come to Nebraska.
Love it. Are you getting used to your new digs?
This building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
huge.
It's beautiful. It's state of the art. More importantly, it's got everything for all the student athletes. It's great now that all the sports are back. I'm walking today down by the training table. I'm seeing women's soccer. I'm seeing bowling. Right? You're seeing all the different sports. That's what makes Nebraska so great, to have all those amazing student athletes right there on one floor, studying life skills, eating together. It's just a lot of excellence. And then obviously on our 2 floors that are football only, it gives our guys the best of the best to train and prepare with.
You have what's called a walk-through room, which is a mini football field. How can you utilize that? How have you utilized that to this point in time?
Just as you said, to walk through, it's got a huge screen, so you can both teach, then have the guys walk through, or you can put video on the screen to walk through against. So you can use it in a multitude of ways. And my challenge to our coaches is to not be like the typical old school coach who's like, well, I don't need that. I'll do it the way I've been doing it. We want to evolve. We want to adapt. We want to be on the cutting edge. And so utilizing that room has been really vital to that. And I think we've found some good ways. We're probably just scratching the surface. There are probably a lot more ways to do it in the future. When
the BTN guys were here, they were impressed that as big as it is, a lot of schools have put in a giant slide or a lazy river, something like that. He goes, that's not the case here. This is pretty football functional, other than the floors for academics and those type of things. It's serious. It's not like your playtime over there.
Yeah, I think when I first got there, a lot of questions were like, hey, Matt, what do you want the recruiting path to be? And I was like, I don't care about the recruiting path. I care about the player's daily path. This is a building for the guys on our team.
Right.
And if the guys on our team feel coached and feel invested in and feel fulfilled, then the recruits who are coming here looking for the same thing will feel that. And if there's a lazy river, it'd probably be a lot of fun, right? If there was they need to have fun. They need to enjoy themselves. But it's the utility of it. It's the recovery. It's the mindset, mental preparation. It is the academics. It is the life skills. It is the player development. It is the weight room. You walk in that building every day, and there's all these different ways for you just to get better.
Good stuff. You used the word fun the other day in a press conference. I don't hear many football coaches use that word, but it sounds like in this camp with this group of guys, you're having some fun.
I'm having a ton of fun. They're a great group. I mean, they really are. Sometimes people might see a snippet of something. They might, see me yelling at the group about da-da-da-da-da.
You got to coach.
It's actually fun for me, though. It's fun for me not to be yelling, but to me, that's teaching. And teaching sometimes happens when you put your arm around someone and walk slowly. Sometimes it happens over lunch. Sometimes you raise your voice to get everyone's attention. But this is a group that's hungry to learn. They want to learn how to win. They want to learn how to be great. And, people will say to me sometimes, Coach, what would you consider success? What would you consider success? Which, I understand why they ask that. In and of itself, when you start defining things that aren't, it almost seems negative. I want our players to walk off the field knowing what it takes to win. And you win a little bit every day. You don't win. Well, we're not going to win next Saturday. We're going to win every day since we played Iowa last year just to get to this moment. And so if our players can learn that, it's something that everyone says they know but they don't really live by, then it's great. So I love these guys as people. I mean, I just enjoy walking out to the field and walking out with Jamari and Deshaun. I enjoy walking off the field with the O-line. I enjoy being around so many of these guys. And so, yeah, I'm having a ton of fun, and I like the staff. And I've enjoyed working with Troy and Haven and all those people. And so we're really blessed with all the people that have chosen to be a part of this. It's a special year. We just got to get to next week.
So that transition's been good because people were worried about you when new AD comes in, somebody that didn't make the hire. It sounds like that's going okay in your eyes.
Yeah, well, I worry about it too. I don't want to get fired because the AD doesn't know me, doesn't want me, but I like it here. But Troy's a winner. He's the right guy at the right time. This is a time where we can't make any decisions right now based upon anything else other than one thing. What's the best thing for the future of the University of Nebraska, Husker Athletics, and in my case, Husker football? It can't be any agenda. It can't be, well, this person wants this person wants that. we used to do this. These people want us to do that. It's got to be, and that's a lonely place to be. You have to have great conviction to do what you think is right, because sometimes you have to disappoint people. And the great thing about Troy is he's got conviction. He's really smart. People all across the country call me, told me how lucky I am to work with him, and I can see that right away.
Good. Appreciate the time. I know you got a meeting to get to. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Time for more meetings.
There you go. Matt Rhule with us here tonight on our football radio show. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Back with a final thought or two next.
Both Farmers and Division I athletes are alike in that every year, every season presents a new opportunity. That is nothing new. Aurora Cooperative does what they always do, embrace new opportunities. They focus on their roots and continue to stand strong with their farmer owners. These core beliefs are much like those of committed Husker athletes. Aurora Cooperatives relies on their value of a strong work ethic to get any job done for their producers. When you choose Aurora Cooperative, you're choosing a winning team that's dedicated to the success of our local farmers. Go Big Red and go Aurora Cooperative.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian Automotive Vehicles in Operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
It's time again for some Nebraska farm facts. For Nebraska soybean farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices. And they have significant sustainability goals by 2025. 10% more energy efficiency, 10% less land, and 25% less soil erosion. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Our Nebraska football show proudly brought to you by Channel. Channel seedsmen place products to perform across Nebraska. Get expert advice that yields results at channel.com. I want to thank the head football coach for being here for the first hour, the first show of the year. We'll be here every Wednesday night. Next week, Coach Thomas will be here. We'll talk Husker quarterbacks with him, and obviously a big topic will be about Dylan winning the job and getting ready to take the snaps for that UTEP game. So look forward to that coming up next week on the show. Tomorrow night, our first volleyball show of the fall. John Cook will be in studio also during hour one of Sports Nightly. We've got another hour to go. In fact, we're going to play part of The Dig. It's our weekly podcast on volleyball. Jaylen Reyes was this week's guest. We'll have that. Jessica will rejoin me on the other side. Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Don't go anywhere. Another hour coming up next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game. Thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air,
our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Good evening, I'm Henry Goodwin, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. In Husker football news, wide receiver Isaiah Nair was named to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I football. The watch list for the 2025 Senior Bowl was also released, with 9 Huskers making the list. And finally, after opening the season 1-1, Nebraska soccer takes the field at Hibner Stadium tomorrow as they take on the Duke Blue Devils at 7:05. Our sports sticker is sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, call the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now, get ready for Hour 2 of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Back to throw, a play action look. Heiberg going to take a shot downfield. Has a man wide open. Malachi Coleman makes the catch. Touchdown, Nebraska. Back to throw. Step throws downfield, taking a deep shot down the field. And the ball's intercepted. Picked off by Tommy Hill. Has an INT. He's at the 15 to the 20. Breaks a tackle. Skirts to the outside. 25. Makes an man miss. Slides his way to the 28-yard line. Tommy Hill's second pick in as many weeks. Shot blocked back and covered. Above the net shot, Merritt Beeson kill. Wow. Couple of Huskers had to punch it off the net, and Beeson swings away. They love it in Lincoln. It's 29-10. Heinrich going to step back. Little G belly action. As a man wide open, it's Jaylen Lloyd. The throw, he makes a catch. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sullivan gets the chest high snap. Stepping up, being pressured, gets hit, and goes down. Huskers get their first sack of the game. Northwestern has given up the most sacks of any team in the conference. The Huskers get one there from Nash.
Here come the Razorbacks, bumping over the left. Gillen, she's stopped. Rick Allen, block number 11 for the team 16. They're body bumping in Lincoln.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
And we're back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly here on a Wednesday night. Hope everybody enjoyed last hour as we had the head football coach in studio. Covered a lot of ground in that hour with Matt Rhule to talk about the upcoming season for the Big Red of the Cornhuskers. And Jessica now joins me now on hour number 2. Man, we touched on about every topic I think you probably could with Husker football. That was pretty educational, at least for me, for the last hour.
Yeah, absolutely. And I liked his last thoughts about just how much fun he's having and, having to, as much as I know there's a lot of pressure that comes along with the job and you're starting to prepare for opponents and you got to win football games, but he loves the group. And, I spend just a very, very small amount of time with this football team compared to him, but I know there's a bunch of really, really good guys on that roster and in that program. And so I can certainly understand from my perspective why he enjoys being around that group, but he's got a lot of good guys and they have bought into what he's doing. And so that is a lot of times the recipe for success when you got, when the head coach of the staff likes the squad and the squad wants to follow the leaders there. So, I liked hearing that part. And, you got some good questions too from the text line and the YouTube chat as well.
Yeah, love hearing our interaction with our audience out there tonight. Well, we speculated last night when with the announcement. We thought maybe it would be today about who QB1, and I don't think anybody's surprised, Jess, that it is Dylan Raiola. I think he's done enough. I think he's earned it. I think what we saw in the spring game is not a flash in the pan. I think this is a really talented young guy, but not surprised at all, and I'm now really anxious to watch him start here in 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, he just, again, I go back to just some of the conversations of the players that have brought him up, and just you could just tell when they talk about him that he's special. And then you just see him in there. And we've heard a lot of the coaches, whether it's Marcus Satterfield or Coach Thomas, Coach Rhule, about the amount of time that he spends extra. I mean, he's probably one of the first guys in the building, one of the last guys to leave. I mean, he just really, really works tirelessly on his craft. He's a very, very humble guy. So, but you could just tell he's got a pretty special talent at playing quarterback, and so kind of knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when they felt right to name it. I love how they did it. Just a simple post on social media, no need to add any more to the hype or make even, on the show, make a big announcement about it, breaking the news there. Just, hey, we're putting out a picture of him in practice, and he's going to start week 1. I like how simple it was, and, there's already a ton of hype surrounding Dylan Reyes, so you keep it a little bit more low-key with the announcement. I love the approach that they did here today.
Well, and I think it's important to let the team know this is our guy and let that settle in. There's probably some emotions coming from Heinrich and Danny, because I'm sure they're disappointed they did not win the job out. That would be natural. But now you have a couple days to let that kind of fall into place. Everybody in the team knowing, all right, Dylan's our guy. Let's get behind him and let's go. So I think the timing 10 days out, to me, seems about right to do it then.
Yeah, for sure. And just to get settled into the roles and hey, it's, you got to constantly compete. You got to constantly compete and make sure you're doing everything right. But maybe you take a little bit of that pressure off of, hey, I've won the job now. I can maybe approach it a little bit differently. But I wonder when they knew, and what it was that exactly, hey, this is the time, we're ready to do it. Or if it was a little bit earlier, they wanted to give it a few days to unfold. But when they were sure. But as Coach Rhule has said numerous times, they're going to find a way to utilize. Certainly Heinrich's going to play, and Danny will probably see some playing time as well. And I hope that they find some wrinkles for Heinrich, because he's an athlete, and we've seen it. We've seen what he can do. So hopefully they've got some fun little sprinkles they can add in there with Heinrich to get him involved in the offense, because he is not scared to take a hit, which sometimes last year, how many times we're like, no, don't do that. Slide, But he is just a competitor. He wants to do anything and everything to help this football team win. And so whether it's something where you're lining him up and he's taking a snap and he's running it or he's catching it, we know he can do that too. But I hope that there are maybe at some point some wrinkles that you can get Heinrich involved in. But I know his role as the backup is going to be critically important. So maybe not. Maybe it won't be something that we see this year, but would love to see him involved somehow, because he's just such a talented guy, and he makes plays. Yeah,
I think they would be ill-advised not to try to do something with him. He's one of the better athletes on this football team, and they've said that time and time again. So I'm sure disappointment from Heinrich. I'd be disappointed if he wasn't upset about this, because you want to be the starter. You had been the starter. But Dylan's a unique talent. We've known that from the day that he signed with Nebraska last December. This is going to be a young guy. It's going to be hard to keep off the football field. And then you go watch him play in the spring game, and you're like, yeah, I get it. I see why he's doing that. I thought his comments about the single digits were interesting. I said, are you concerned at all that it's so heavy defense? He goes, nope, not at all. He goes, we got great leadership on the offense, but they're young. And he goes, the defensive guys who just have played more football here, and I think that's probably what won out there. But they do light up when you ask him about Jamal Banks and his impact on this program in a short amount of time, just getting here in January.
Well, Greg, that's the exact conversation we had last night about this group of single digits when it was announced, and just talking about there are some great leaders on the offensive side of the ball, just maybe some more the younger guys, more the younger talent is on the offensive side of the ball. And you don't question at all the guys that ended up getting those single digits. And when it's a Marquise Buford and a Malcolm Hartzog and a Jamari Butler, who probably was a shoe-in for that single digit back in January. He's probably one of the guys that might have been on the fringe at last season. But there's some great leaders on the offensive side of the ball. It's not worrisome just because they're not wearing the single digit, And again, as he mentioned, offensive linemen can't wear those single digits. And so I don't even know if they were included in the vote this year. But, Ben Scott's a tremendous leader up front. As he mentioned, Ramir Johnson is an incredible leader. There's plenty of guys that are just maybe a little bit younger. And then you just have those guys on the other side of the ball that have just been through the fire and have just proven themselves so much. But Jamal Banks, yeah, and if you chat with him, you understand why he is the way. I mean, that he has won people over. I mean, how he approaches things. He just already feels like a pro. How he goes about things. But I don't think he came in too hot, as a transfer. Even though they needed some veteran experience, even they had some young talent in that room, but adding some veteran experience, I think he approached it the right way. He's done everything right. For some guys coming in, it's a little bit of a culture shock to get the feel for how things are done and what this coaching staff, they want you to go about your business. But I think for Jamal, he fit right in. I think he thrives. He was thriving from the second he said, "I'm coming to Nebraska," because this fits him so much to a T. And so I think he was a guy that really, really embraced and got right in, and it was good for him. And he, went about things the right way. And so, yeah, guys really were drawn to him, I think, really from the start, even though he didn't ask for it. He's just that natural kind of leader type of guy.
Well, one thing that was with Coach last hour that was unsettling, and I think he's unsettled by it, is he goes, here we are 10 days out. We don't know who our kicker is. Don't know who our punt returner is. Don't know who our kickoff returner is. I think that is a little concerning and something they've got to get figured out here in the next 10 days.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess he didn't really allude to why yet, right? I mean, maybe just haven't seen the consistency that they want.
Yeah, he didn't really give a peek of why they haven't picked those spots yet, but he said that, he goes, if there's something that keeps me up at night, that's it, is that kicking game. And obviously, not that we anticipate, you hope the first game's not decided by a couple of points, but it could be. You hope that Nebraska's just a clearly better football team and that doesn't come down to a kick here or a return there. But it is a little unsettling to not have those things kind of locked in here at this point in time.
Yeah, and I'm probably more so with kicker than the other two spots, because I think you've got some guys, as we heard Coach Foley talking about last night in IGC. You had said he's the guy that, hey, steady Eddie back there. With IGC, Ramir, same way. You've got a couple of options where you feel maybe more experienced, more the veteran guys, and then you got maybe some more explosive playmakers. So I don't, worry as much about that, as more so the kicker and, the fact that maybe they haven't taken that job, whoever it may be, hasn't taken it and solidified it yet, maybe a little bit concerning, but hopefully, and Coach is very, as we've come to know throughout the last year or so, he's very strategic with some of the things that he says and what he puts out there. And so hopefully, some of those guys really take it and run with it. And Tristan's probably still continuing to get back fully healthy. And so, but yeah, hopefully you get that solidified this week, make you feel a little bit better. But then, hey, you get one game, get to start against UTEP, and then throw them into the fire, and then you'll really see if they're ready to go.
Well, folks, if you have any comments, thoughts about what you heard from Coach last hour, I'd love to hear them. 402-413-2400. Just love your take on what the head football coach had to cover with us in hour one of the program tonight, his first radio show of the fall. All right, here's what we have coming up on the program tonight. Jessica has started up her weekly podcast series during volleyball season called The Dig, and this week Jaylen Reyes, assistant coach, was the subject. We'll get back here in a few minutes and play you part of that, and then more football talk coming up later on in the hour. Folks, go support childhood brain cancer research by donating to the Team Jack Foundation. Your contribution funds life-saving research for new treatments and offers hope to children and families. Donate today at teamjackfoundation.org. Again, brought to you by Team Jack's Foundation. We're back to talk some volleyball with The Dig. We'll do that next.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Hi, this is Rex Burkhead, and I'm asking you to donate to the Team Jack Foundation to support childhood brain cancer research. Your contribution fuels the discovery of new treatments, enhancing children's lives and improving survival rates. Childhood brain cancer is a serious issue in Nebraska, where we rank number 7th nationally in incident rates. Every dollar brings us closer to a cure and a brighter future for these brave kids. Make a difference today by visiting teamjackfoundation.org to donate. Go Big Red.
Discover a better car buying experience with Woodhouse Hyundai during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Right now, lease the 2024 Hyundai Palisade SEL for just $449 a month. When you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai Shopper Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get started online at woodhousehyundai.com today. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license, extra. First payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires September 3rd, 2024. See dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Tanya Blaine in Norfolk, Grant Wilbeck in Omaha, or Bud Morrell in Ocala.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Experience luxury and performance at Woodhouse Lincoln. Receive 0% APR for 60 months on the 2024 Lincoln Navigator. From selecting the perfect vehicle to securing the best financing options, our team is here to assist you every step of the way. Come visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com and explore all our current offers going on now. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 8/31/2024. See dealer for details.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Wednesday night. Hope you enjoyed the head coach. Last hour again, volleyball tomorrow night. John Cook in studio during hour one. Well, again, this fall, Jessica's going to do a weekly podcast called The Dig, a deep dive into Husker volleyball, where she rotates through the Nebraska assistant coaches. And this week, her focus was on Jaylen Reyes. Here's a part of this week's The Dig.
So the preseason rankings came out, Huskers #2. And again, you think about where we were in the conversations we were having a year ago when there was just so much unknown and this team was so young, to where you are now, and you come in and you have these expectations coming off the national championship match. How have they handled all those expectations? And again, just maybe adjusting a little bit even what the feel is like overall for the team going into this season compared to a year ago.
Coach actually had this talk with them last night. So he just asked, do you guys feel, we're number 2. We were picked to win the Big Ten. We won the Big Ten last year. We went to the finals last year. What do you guys like? Kind of open the floor up to him, to be honest, and how they felt. And I want to say Lindsey Krause framed it perfectly, where those are the expectations every year. So why does it change? It's kind of sure. You can see a little bit more this year because of, hey, we have a lot more returning than we maybe did the year before because we knew we were going to lean on some freshmen last year. But in terms of coming to work every day and controlling what you control and trying to win the next match and trying to win the Big Ten and win the national championship, that's kind of been, that's kind of what these kids signed up for years ago. So I don't even think some of them didn't even know we were ranked number 2. So, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't think they care, because I think they do, but I think a lot of them, for the most part, they're just like, okay, like awesome, and it's, hey, we were ranked number 1 for a good amount of the year anyway last year, and we didn't end up where we wanted to be. So it's, the preseason rankings are great. I think each week they mean a little bit more because there's more of the story, whether it's Nebraska's story or the rest of the country's story being told each and every week. So it's like, I'm not saying that this poll doesn't matter, but after week 1, no one will remember last week's poll anyway, So I think it's a little bit of, a lot of the expectations are kind of the same here. Sure, just people are going to remember now, they all know who, essentially who was the starting libero last year and the starting setter last year, but versus the year before, there was some unknowns. But I think for the most part, it's business as usual over at the Devaney Center for us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, going into this weekend, what are you guys going to be looking for? What do you want to get accomplished in the red and white scrimmage?
I think similar things we're looking in practice, okay? Passing, who passes well next to each other? How do the DSs do? What pins are going to play all the way around? And what do we need, what outside hitters do we need to take out in the back row? Because we have some talented libero DS types on the team. I think another thing is like what outside hitter position. So for volleyball talk, there's 2 outside hitters, right, that usually play, not including the opposite. Where do each outside fit? Sometimes the one that plays next to the setter and the one that plays away from the setter, they're required to do different things depending on what rotation we're in. So we're still trying to see like which one of them, and then, hey, which ones are going to play, So I think there's a lot of moving parts, and this player is maybe, player A is more capable of playing 0-2 versus this player is more capable of playing 0-1, and how do they mesh? How do they play together? And then when they pass, what does our passing formations look like? Along with obviously the liberos back, like the liberos in there. So that's a big thing. Offensively, like, can we keep making improvements? That was kind of a big challenge for us last year. Can we improve our offense from 2022? And we did that. And I think that was a big indicator of, even though we were young last year, it's like Nebraska was better on offense and they were just as good on defense. So whether you're young or not, that doesn't matter. The game just knows, hey, this team's really good at offense, really good at defense. They're going to go pretty far. So can we keep making strides offensively? Can we... Who's going to step up in that like middle blocker role to kill balls? Can we rely on the middles to kill volleyballs? Will we set them in maybe not perfect situations, right? That's a two-way street. That's the setter and that's the middles making sure that the setter has confidence in them, but also like they're doing everything they need to do to be successful to kill the ball. So that's, instead of just, we're going to set outside, set outside, set outside. Can we look for opportunities to set the quick, and are the middles going to be ready to kill the ball? And then I think the last thing for me is like, how well are we going to serve? Sometimes it's like, I think our serving gets better as the season goes. So hopefully we get off to a good start, but you can practice serving, but now it's like, okay, there's a crowd, we're keeping score, everyone's watching you. Like, how are we going to come out and serve and pass? Because at the end of the day, like, the game will be decided, and that's what happened in the finals, right? Is we didn't serve and pass very good that day, and we picked a really bad day to not do it very well. So kind of this being the very next time we're all in an arena together playing volleyball, you know, how are we going to serve and pass, especially? So I think there's a lot of things, you know, in terms of individual, what are we looking for individuals this Saturday? But in terms of the big things, it's just passing formations, the outside hitter spots, which middles are going to kill balls, and then, hey, how as a team are we going to serve? I think that's one thing that coaches for sure have been stressing this week.
So because of the travel schedule, we're not going to be able to have you guys on to preview the season opener at Kentucky. So I wanted to go ahead and dive into that too. Talk about opening up the season with a bang on the road against Kentucky and Louisville. What is the approach to that match? And again, you guys aren't afraid to schedule tough in the non-conference, but you know what? I'm assuming maybe some of the same things you just listed that you guys are maybe looking for in the season opener. But what's important in setting the tone there in match number one?
For sure. I mean, it's a cool honor to be the first two teams playing, you know. For those that don't know, normally the college volleyball season starts that following Friday. So us, Kentucky, Wisconsin, and Louisville, we're going to just play like a one-day tournament. Us playing Kentucky and Louisville is going to play Wisconsin. And we're going to play first. So us and Kentucky essentially are going to kick off the college volleyball season. So that's a really cool honor, and I think it's going to be on ESPN, I'm pretty sure. So that national televised game, first game of the season, against a really good opponent, against a John Cook former assistant, which is always kind of fun for his current assistants.
A lot of history there.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we always have really good battles with Kentucky too. So they're going to have some new pieces too. I was actually really lucky to be able to coach one of their players this past summer, Brooklyn DeLay, who was on our under-21 team. She was actually the MVP of the tournament. She had a really amazing tournament. So just getting to see her and watch her and see how much she's developed since I got to last work with her in June is going to be really awesome. Hopefully more awesome for Nebraska, not awesome for Kentucky, but I mean, she's a really gifted player. She's going to be an All-American by the end of the season. Kentucky will probably have a few. They have an experienced setter coming back, two really good liberos that are going to be a DS and libero somewhere. They have some really good returners coming back. It's just we don't know where they're going to all fold in terms of kind of like how I talked about us. I would feel like they're probably a little bit more of an unknown to us just because they don't have any middles that really played for them yet on their roster. They had one transfer out and they had a couple graduate, and then their opposite is no longer with them, so they're going to probably have somebody new playing opposite. They have some really talented freshmen coming in. So, I mean, probably, honestly, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Jaylen will be learning their lineup for the most part. I would like to assume Brooklyn DeLay will be in there because she's probably she's one of the best outside hitters in the country. So Husker fans are going to have a treat or a nightmare watching her play next Tuesday. Hopefully it's better for us. But yeah, in terms of what we're looking for from our side of things, I think this Saturday will kind of add into what we're going to do on Tuesday. But I think a lot of the same things. Okay, serving and passing, offensively, how we're doing, where are the outside hitters in terms of, okay, attacking, but also like how are they kind of factoring into the passing formations, and then, you know, how are we going to serve? I think that's a big indicator of like how we play. Is if we serve really aggressively, then, hey, we usually kind of, you know, set the tone of the match. If we don't, then, you know, we start off on our heels and we kind of have to figure out ways to kind of get back on it. So, I think a lot of the stuff we're going to be looking at on Sunday will probably transfer over to Tuesday. We'll just be doing it against a different team now.
Think about where we were a year ago. We were about to have Volleyball Day in Nebraska and just the explosion of volleyball and women's sports. How exciting is it going into this year, just knowing, again, you just mentioned it, you know, getting to kick things off on ESPN, but just the amount of people that are now paying attention and are invested and want to be all in on the sport. How exciting is that to go into this season knowing what was set, what kind of standard was set last year?
Right. No, it's pretty awesome. I mean, we knew it was going to be big, but just the amount of coverage that I feel like the sport's getting. You know, I think the Olympics were very well viewed, whether it was beach or indoor, men or women. I think that helped. Getting to kick off a college volleyball season that we'll see. I mean, we're going to play a game on NBC this year. Like, that's pretty awesome. You know, we're going to have I don't even know the number. You probably know the number in terms of nationally televised games. The finals are going to be again on ABC, so hopefully we can be in that again. I think we play a game on ABC, a couple of them on ABC, and obviously throughout the ESPN networks. And then obviously the Big Ten Network does a really good job too. So a lot of our games are televised. A lot of games in general are televised, which I think is awesome for the sport. So many other teams are doing, different events too, whether we're there or not. I mean, the AVCA is doing that with us. I know Wisconsin, Minnesota, Stanford, and Texas are doing kind of a kickoff out in Milwaukee this next weekend, which sounds pretty awesome too. So a lot of really cool things for volleyball. And I'm happy that we're a program that can kind of help elevate it, and and a year ago, I think I even remember talking about this. Like, I have no idea how volleyball day is going to go. We know it's going to be cool. We know there's going to be a lot of people there, but in terms of, hey, would the weather participate? How would the game going to be? And then I had no idea all that stuff was going to happen after. So that was kind of cool to be a witness to it and not be in the know, and then to be in the know literally on the stage. So that was pretty awesome. And then seeing everybody start setting attendance records for their own schools, which is awesome, because it just means that the sport matters not just on this campus, but it's starting to matter at a bunch of different campuses and and stuff like that. And I don't know, just even watching how women's hoops or women's other sports were doing this year in terms of, Iowa basketball played a game in their stadium, and I know Oklahoma softball is thinking about doing something like that. And just the amount of momentum that women's sports is getting, it's really awesome, especially in these times where everything in college sports is being decided based on the two men's sports, which they've always that's how college sports have always gone. And I'm not saying that's going to change, but it's cool in these times where, hey, NIL is becoming a big thing, or getting into one of these big conferences and stuff like that. There's still room for the growth of female athletics, which I think is really, really awesome.
Jaylen's already in mid-season form on the dig, but that was only a small portion of the entire conversation that's out now, as again, we're powered by Emeritus. Emeritus is proud to power the dig and all of Husker women's sports. So appreciate Emeritus and sponsoring the podcast. But I'm so excited. I learn so much every time I sit down with whoever the assistant coach is. I didn't even have time to get into it with him, but he had talked a lot about the middles and Andy Jackson, and I think she's going to continue to just wow with some of the plays that she makes. But how special she is, and Lauren actually brought this up too, how good she is on the slide. And so I wanted to dive into all of that with him, but we just ran out of time. So the next time he's on, I told him we're gonna dive into all things the slide and Andy Jackson on that. And so, but again, it's out now on our podcast platforms and our YouTube channel as well, if you want to hear that entire conversation with Jaylen Reyes. Also a preview of the red-white scrimmage and the opener against Kentucky.
You know what? Their practices have to just be war zones. I mean, as much depth as they have to get on the court. John's got a luxury of going, all right, if you don't want to play well today, you're on the bench. I'm going to go different. I just think it's got to be fascinating to sit there and watch one of their practices. It's got to be at such a high level that they practice at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just you better bring it every single day, because, and that's how many times have we had some of the players on and these newcomers, and they talk about their decision to come here, and whether it's a All-American outside hitter or a fifth-year middle blocker that's played in the Final Four, or two incoming freshmen that were two of the top recruits in the country, they all embrace that competition because they want to be at their best, because the talent that comes into the gym at Nebraska, they have aspirations. Most of them have aspirations to want to go on and do, whether it be playing for the Olympics, like we just saw a couple weeks ago, or, Team USA or playing professionally, whatever that might be. And what gets you there? How do you get to where your game is translates to that? And a lot of them say it's what the Huskers do in the gym day in and day out is going to make me the best player that I can be. And so they're not afraid of that competition. So, I would not, and that's another thing that Jaylen dove into, was just, I don't think they know what that lineup is going to look like, and they're going to try to take a lot away from the red-white scrimmage. But I think the players have made it pretty tough on them. And Lauren brought this up a couple weeks ago when we did the volleyball one-on-one. It might take a few weeks for them to settle into a rotation, but she was saying that Nebraska's the best when they do figure that out and settle into that, and then they're able to build that chemistry and you see that consistency there. But I mean, he brought up Maisie Bosinger, and Coach Cook talked about her the other day and how much she's improved. And just, I think at every single spot, it's just a battle. And even the things that they challenge you to do well, whether it's serve, receive, some of the players have really improved on that. So, and Coach Cook has said, hey, if you can pass and you can serve, we're going to find a role for you. So I think there's a lot of people making it really tough to make those decisions.
Good stuff. Again, I encourage everybody to go listen to the full podcast that is now posted and out there. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with a home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, Camden Henry, let's open up those phone lines. Folks, whatever you want to talk about, maybe you have some thoughts about Coach Rhule's appearance last hour, 402-413-2400. We're back to more of the show coming up next.
When you switch and save with Progressive, you could use that money towards going to see your favorite team in the playoffs. Progressive cannot guarantee that you can go see your favorite team in the playoffs. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds on average, but we cannot guarantee that your favorite team will make the playoffs or even finish with a winning record. They could easily lose more than half their games and finish in the cellar because they stink badly and haven't made the playoffs in years. Savings? Very possible. Playoffs? Highly doubtful. Switch and see if you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates. Not available in all states. We cannot be held liable for your favorite team's terrible and frankly embarrassing performances now or ever.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit Huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game. Thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to Huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian Automotive Vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, this is Rex Burkhead, and I'm asking you to donate to the Team Jack Foundation to support childhood brain cancer research. Your contribution fuels the discovery of new treatments, enhancing children's lives and improving survival rates. Childhood brain cancer is a serious issue in Nebraska, where we rank number 7th nationally in incident rates. Every dollar brings us closer to a cure and a brighter future for these brave kids. Make a difference today by visiting teamjackfoundation.org to donate. Go Big Red.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They're the Midwest premier John Deere dealers, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you. It is a Wednesday night here on Sports Honey on the Huskers Radio Network. Husker Dan on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline at 402-413-2400 is hanging on the line. Let's go to Dan if I can remember how to pop this up. Hey, Dan, welcome to the program.
Oh, my goodness. Long time. I haven't talked to you guys for a while. So, Greg, you sound great. I hope everything's going good for you. I think about you every day, and I listen to all your guys' shows, but there's a lot of times where you guys weren't taking calls, and I wanted to call in and yada, yada. But anyway, here I am.
Good to have you here.
Good to hear your voice,
so
Dan.
Anyway, I love you guys. I love your show, and I'll call in when I can. But, hey, the one thing I want to ask you guys is, I know you had Matt Rhule on earlier, and I listened to the show and everything, but how are the other quarterbacks taking – and I know we've probably seen the writing on the wall that Dylan was going to be the starter, but you just never know. But, and they compete, and they're, they could step in there too and start. And I like that we're deep on quarterback. And I love the fact that, if Dylan doesn't do good, if Matt, puts the next guy in and they're ready. And I like that. And it's like, I hope they're not down for not getting the starting position. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I would hope that particularly Heinrich would be disappointed. He was the incumbent, the returning starter. A competitive fire, you would want him to be the guy. So I'm sure he's disappointed. But my guess is those guys probably had a feeling where they where they stood, Dan, as camp went on. But from a competitive standpoint, you want those guys to be disappointed, right? I mean, you want them to keep competing and fighting hard and keeping themselves ready because they're one snap away from being elevated up the depth chart.
Yep, I totally agree. And, I could see them being a little down on this, decision. But, in hindsight, you got to think, if the coaches are on top of it, they're going to bring them kids into the office and say, hey, keep your head high. Dylan is young. He's a freshman. He's very talented. But you know what? You hang in there because you're gonna be right on his heels. So, and if he goes down, you're the guy. So I appreciate that part of it anyway.
Yeah. Dan, great to hear from you. I can't wait for this season to get going.
Oh, yeah, I'll call in some more.
Attaboy. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Love hearing you guys.
Appreciate the phone call from up in West Point. Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked, Jess, to Heinrich or Danny, but, as a competitor, you want them to be disappointed, but there's only one quarterback. I mean, they all know what they're kind of getting into.
Yeah, and by the way, Dan, hopefully you're still listening, but the guys in the chat, on the YouTube chat, all love you and say hi, and that they like hearing your voice. But look, it's the culture that this coaching staff, Coach Rhule and this coaching staff have built, that if you all play a role. And yes, I'm as competitors, they're going to be disappointed that they're not the starting quarterback. But I think they understand. I mean, do you think Heinrich Harburg, when he decided to come in here and even 2 years ago thought he'd be in this position, or even the position that he was in last year, I think he is embracing whatever role he can play. He is, the times that I've gotten to chat with him, he is just such the ultimate team guy. And yeah, I'm sure he got a taste of it last year and wanted to be able to build on that and come back and be the starter again. But I think he's just whatever he needs to do for this football team. He loves the Huskers. He loves wearing the N. And I think it's bigger than just I'm the starting quarterback. He knows he has a role, and while it's not the number one QB, he's got a big role on this team. He is a great communicator with whoever the quarterback is on the sidelines, and communicating between when the offense comes off and in between series. He is so good about how he communicates with the whoever it is that's out there, and so he's going to play a massive role, and I think that he will embrace that and do whatever he needs to do for this football team.
Absolutely. Matt Raymond on our text line said, I think the wild card here early on is special teams. I believe Coach Rhule and the staff are waiting for this unit to gel. As in refining silver, they must be held under the fire to get rid of the impurities. The finished product should be a finely tuned unit. Yeah, that was one of my takeaways from last hour, was that there's some uncertainty about that special teams unit from the kick to the return game right now with this football team, and they got to get that figured out here in the next 7 to 8 days. Also, we've had some people in the chat the last couple of nights want to know, has the Big Ten established tiebreaker rules for the conference championship game? They have not yet. The SEC today revealed their plan. Dr. Susan Elza was in studio last hour with Coach Rhule, and she said, the Big Ten is looking at something similar to the SEC, but they have not settled on that. So I know some people in the chat room were asking questions about whether that's been laid out yet. It is not. They'll probably need to get to that here before too long. Also in the chat, Mike wants to see Sunny. Is that possible, Jess, before the end of the show tonight?
Well, she walked up, right?
There she is for you on our YouTube chat.
So she's ready for her appearance.
Sunny.
I told her she needed to get ready.
Good deal. So anybody watching our YouTube stream can see Sunny as Jessica's broadcasting from her.
Doing the horns down, the paws down. They asked her to do that.
Don't let Colt McCoy see that. He'll be here in about 2 weeks, ready to call that game. All right, good to have Sunny make an appearance. 402-413-2400. We're back to wrap it up next.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker Nation, your women's basketball team is gearing up for another incredible season, and you can be right in the heart of the action. Join the season ticket request list today and guarantee your spot for another year of Husker dominance. Witness every key basket, every clutch steal, and celebrate every victory with the most dedicated fans in the nation. Don't wait. Head over to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat for an unforgettable season. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team in Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you. A couple more minutes left on our Wednesday night show tomorrow night. Heavy dose of volleyball. John Cook will be here for his first radio show of the year ahead of their red-white scrimmage on Saturday at the Devaney Center and ahead of traveling to Louisville, where they'll play Kentucky next Tuesday night. A special exemption given to the 4 teams that are going to play in Louisville that night, as Jaylen Reyes explained earlier as part of the Dig podcast this week. We'll also hear from Micah Mazuka, the transfer offensive lineman from Florida via Baylor. We'll hear from him tomorrow night on the program as well. So heavy dose of football tonight, a little bit of more volleyball talk tomorrow night. Love it. I love it. We're kind of into the season now, Jess. This is kind of the unofficial start of a new sports season for all of us with the Coaches Show going tonight.
Yes, soccer started. Volleyball is, hey, next week's game week. I have been telling you, I'm getting over talking season. It's finally time to be done with talking season, but pretty cool opportunity, as Jaylen was pointing out. They're going to be the very first volleyball match of the year to kick it off in that way. So cool event there. And as we were chatting with him about too, just again, a very tough you saw the preseason poll, how many of the Huskers opponents are in that top 25.
It's unbelievable.
And Kentucky, one of those. So a big start for them. And so we're going to, I think, learn a lot about, and it's going to be fun to see that talent on display against Kentucky. But first, the red-white scrimmage on Saturday.
How about that? They played the last match of last year in the title game. Now they get the first match of 2024. That's a pretty cool thing going for that. Crypto King in the chat room wants to know, are we doing Big Ten picks? We are. We'll start next week. And now with 18 teams, it's going to take us a while to get through the Big Ten teams making their picks. Good to see Sonny on the program here tonight. Jess, hope you feel better tomorrow. John Baylor is going to host Hour 1 tomorrow night with the volleyball show with John Cook. Always entertaining. Never know what's going to come out of JB's mouth. So that's kind of worth the price of admission right there to see what John Baylor has to say.
Cannot wait to have JB back on the airways, him and Lauren. But should be a fun show, and can't wait to hear how preseason is going. And it's always must-listen radio when it's John Baylor and John Cook. So make sure you pencil it in. And Sonny was happy to be here, happy that I was here to be part of the show today.
Awesome. Good stuff. Guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Camden Henry. Good to have Henry back. One of our student interns is back from his summer vacation. No, he's back in tow as well. Great show tonight. Thanks to the head football coach for spending an hour with us tonight. Again, volleyball show tomorrow night. And then I'll be back with Jess for hour number 2 of Sports Alley here on the Huskers Radio Network. Have yourself a great night. Be safe, everybody.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
It's time for another round of Nebraska Farm Facts. If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens. Farmers and ranchers raise livestock and poultry to provide nutritious, affordable protein for all ages to help build muscle and maintain energy for a healthy lifestyle. Keep that in mind as you prepare all that tasty meat on your tailgate grill. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game. Thanks to